Hey everybody, welcome to BMore Brooklyn. My name is Lady J. I have my co-host, my brother, my friend up in Brooklyn, Gilbert Bell,
So,
and got two guests on here tonight. Well, you guys already know Joy. If you watch Joy B, the Joy B show, Conversations with Joy B, she's on. And then her and Van are on a show called People's Power Assembly. So I think everybody, what we're going to do the same thing tonight, like mute your mics if you're not talking. And so that way we don't have any feedback. So yeah, I'll do that. All right. Did I put Eric on there? No, not yet. So tonight we're going to be talking about an incident that happened with us on Saturday at Olive Garden in Baltimore. Well, not Baltimore, in White Marsh, Maryland. White Marsh, Maryland. And before I get started, you know what I always ask you to do is to pick your phone up and to make sure you share the show, okay? And tonight, this is what we'll be talking about. So we invite you to join in on the conversation. Some of you had some questions that you were asking when this whole thing happened and when I made the video on Saturday. So we're going to try to answer some of those questions as well. But tonight, basically, I just want to, well, you know what? Let me turn it over to Gilbert right now. And then I'm just going to let Gilbert co-host tonight, be the host tonight. I'm sorry. And I'm going to sit back and be quiet.
what's up, everybody? So, we probably already heard it, but if you didn't, we need to hear it again. What exactly happened?
So I'm
Give
going to
me,
start. I'm going to start off by talking about what happened, and basically, because we there were different things that happened to each of us while we were there. So what happened is that we we decided we wanted to meet first of all because it was Van's birthday. We wanted to celebrate her birthday. We also had some business stuff that we needed to discuss because these two ladies are hosts on LadyJ Media, and which we have a right to do. Normally, I think all of us we normally go to a black business to eat, to do different things there, have functions or whatever. This particular day, for those of you who don't know, my mom is sick. And so my sisters and I rotate, and the weekends are mine. Friday through Sunday, sometimes Monday, I'm taking care of my mom. And my mom lives close to Olive Garden. So when we were talking on the phone, they were actually accommodating me because they were like, okay, where can we meet you? Because I can't stay out long. I can go eat. I got to get back. So I was like, okay, well, let's go to Olive Garden because that's really close. We can go there, do what we got to do, and then I can leave and get back. So we picked that place, went there, and I don't know, to be honest, I'm not sure what was going on because it was empty when we got there, but we waited for about 20 minutes before we were seated. No problem. We didn't say anything. We were all, if you guys know us, we never walk out looking bummy or anything like that. We were all dressed up. And even when we walked in, there were two ladies there, and they were telling us, how good we look. So we went in looking professional. I'm just giving y'all the little details for those of you who are making comments and asking questions. I'm giving you the little fine details. So we went in. Finally, we were given our seats. We gave our order. We start talking, and I pulled out my phone, and I was showing Joyce was sitting next to me, Van was sitting across from me, and we were actually seated, and I don't know why we were seated in the bar section, because nobody was there, but we were seated in the bar section, and in the bar section there the tall tables because you're in the bar, and then there was one booth. So I asked if we could sit in the booth because Van, she's hasn't been a while. So we sat in the booth. Van was sitting across from us. I'm sitting next to Joyce, and I pull out the phone, And, we're looking at the video. Now, mind you, Van is sitting across from us. She can barely hear the video sitting at the table across from us because it wasn't loud. And it was a video of a show. It was a snippet of a show that I was showing to them. Um, and we got our salad, we got our breadsticks, we finally get our food. The manager comes out of nowhere and he just walks over. He doesn't say, "How are you doing? You ladies enjoying your food?" He says to us, "You got to shut that off." You know, and we're sitting there looking like, "What?" And so Joyce took it. She lifted the phone, she slid the thing, so the video went off. And then we sat there for a minute and we're kind of looking at each other like, why do we have to turn the phone off? So Joyce said, "I'm going to go ask him." And that's what she did. She went to ask him a question. I'm going to let her take it over from here. But I really know that he was pissed off because she asked the question, which she had a right to do, to ask him a question. Because the one thing I was saying is that, and I'm sure we've all seen this. I go to restaurants all the time. People order their food, and the next thing they do, everybody pulls out their cell phones. They're pulling out their cell phones. My son and I go out a lot. My son pulls out his phone. He's playing his music. He's playing, what is that thing called? Oh my goodness. What is that thing called? The thing where you show yourself whatever you're doing. I mean, he's just showing all kinds of stuff. Nobody says anything. I was actually out today, and there was a lady just walking. She's in a restaurant. She's playing a gospel song while waiting for her stuff. Nobody said anything. So we do this all the time. This is the world that we live in. People live on their phones. And so I'm gonna stop talking and let Joyce pick up, because this is where this is how the whole thing started, just because she asked him a question.
Butler. So, Dr. Jenkins is in fact correct. It was initially conversation and compliments, which turned into racism and altercation. Okay, so I see the manager, and it just was not sitting well with me, not in my spirit. I could not take the fact that he came over and was just so rude and disrespectful. So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, sir, can I ask you a question? What's the problem with the cell phone?" He says, "You're disturbing other patrons and they can't enjoy their food." I said, "Who's it disturbing? How is it disturbing anybody? There's not anybody in close proximity to us. They can't hear it. We can barely hear it." So he said, it just doesn't work that way. You need to turn it off." And I turned it off. I said, I've turned it off. So as we're walking back to the table, I said, "This is some racism bullshit." I said, "This is some bullshit racism." And he says, "What did you say?" I said, "This is some racist bullshit." And this is a massive man. Now, this man is huge. I'm short. He is absolutely in my face. I can feel his breath through the mask. He's in my face. His abdomen is protruding and it's touching my person. I said, "Sir, you're going to have to move back." I said, "Now I'm going to go over here back to this table." I get back to the table, and apparently he is pissed off because I had the audacity to question him and call him on his madness. So he says, "Get out." He said, "Your meal is paid for. Get out." I said, "I'm going to leave." I told the Dr. J and Miss Van, I said, "I'm going to be in my car and I'm going to call corporate." So I leave the restaurant. I I'm in the car and I'm calling corporate and I'm leaving messages, and I'm just trying to figure out like what just happened in here. So I was not in the restaurant following that. I had already gone. So I'm gonna let Dr. J and Miss Van relate from that point. Unless you
Yeah,
Can you hear
so
me?
go ahead, Van.
So prior to Miss Joyce, before Miss Joyce had left, and after she had mentioned to the manager, by this time we never knew his name. So before then, one of his employees came out, and Miss Joyce and Dr. J is facing me, but towards the door. and I'm facing them, but looking at the bar. And so I'm looking around because I'm trying to see, was it any signs around that says no audio being played? I asked the gentleman, I said, what does that sign say back there? He said, oh, it just says you can't, you just need to be over 21 to drink. Prior to that, one of his employees comes over to lean on. We're by a wall where you can lean there, almost to say like a banister. But on the side where, excuse me, where we were sitting on the wall, it's a wine rack. So the little split where we could see the employees coming out and the manager coming out, it looks to be maybe where they prepare food. Maybe his office is back there. And so the employee comes out and he leans on the wall. Now, lady, Dr. J and Miss Joyce can't see him. So I looked up and said, you all right? And he looked around and said, me? I said, oh, you all right? He said, I'm just looking out the door. I said, the right thing to do is for you to not stand over top of us while we're eating. That's rude. If you want to look out the door, why don't you walk up to the door and, look out the door? He then noticed that Dr. J was filming. He walked back to the kitchen area, and here comes another young man. And he was talking to us just as polite and almost to say that we thought he was the manager. So so he said, do you mind telling us, telling me what happened? So Dr. J went on to tell him what happened. And then so we asked him what's his title. He says, I am a dishwasher. So we all laugh, and he goes to say, well, Kevin is a good guy, and he's normally not like this. And, he doesn't mistreat us, but, it doesn't make it right for him to disrespect y'all. But this is normally not his way of presenting himself. I said to him, he really trained you, didn't he? After that, he proceeded to talk. Kevin is still standing there. So then it was a new African American young lady who Saturday was her first day. So she's looking startled, like if he talking to these customers like that. What do I think? She almost, needless to say, she was about to cry. She had tears in her eyes, but she held back. He was rushing her to say, hurry up and give them the bags, their containers, their silverware, and they need to leave. He then proceeded to stand on my side. I said, sir, it's one thing to tell us to get out. He didn't say leave. He said, get out. I said, you're not going to stand over top of me. I said, it's one thing to say to get out, and then you're going to stand over top of me. Why are you standing here? Period. He then says, okay, then I'll stand over here. Now, Miss Joyce is still inside because I told her not to leave. And so he goes and stands behind. He was so close to Miss Joyce after not standing behind me. He then proceeded to stand behind Miss Joyce. And Miss Joyce said, and you're not going to stand behind me because I feel like I don't trust you. And I feel threatened that you're standing behind me and you were standing behind in my face at the first beginning. I want you to leave and you're going to leave now. Miss Joyce said, you're right. I'll leave. I said, why are you putting us two ladies out, just to see what he was going to respond? Like, why are you putting me and Dr. J out? Because my sister asked you a question. He said, yous all can get out. This meal is on me. Just get out. Then he says, by the way, happy birthday. And we stayed calm. We stayed humbled. Proceeded to walk out. I walked up the front as Dr. J, proceeded to look around to see was there any signs. She looked around to see again how many customers was in the dining area. I took pictures of the people that were sitting far over to the right of us, and maybe a husband and a wife sitting far over to the left. So Dr. J proceeded to ask him for his name, his number, who do we call? He gives her the number to the store, and then we were still standing there. So after that, we proceeded to leave out. He walked us to the door.
And the thing is, we could not leave. Here's the thing: if somebody is standing over you, I'm 5'1", I'm short. I'm not sure. I know I think Van is maybe a little bit taller than Joyce and I, but Joyce and I are short. I'm 5'1". Joyce might have me by an inch,
I'm
but
five
when
seven.
somebody is standing over you, um, talking to you, and this is my thing, even when I'm eating, don't stand over me. Don't stand over me. Don't breathe over my food. That's just rude. That's just a rule I have, period. Don't stand over me. The fact that he was standing over us and then you're asking us to leave, but you're actually standing right there. So I'm not going to walk past you, because if you put your hands on me, then that's another problem. If you come close to me, like Joyce said, he had his stomach on her back. Okay, if you come that close to me where you're touching me or I feel your breath, I'm feeling threatened. I'm feeling intimidated. I'm feeling like I'm in prison, like I cannot move. So my thing was, as he's telling us to get up and leave, I'm sitting at the table. I'm not going to move because you're blocking my way. If you want me to leave, then you need to move out of, completely remove yourself from the area so I feel safe enough to get up and walk away. Because you're like, I don't know how tall he was, because everybody's tall compared to me being 5'1", but I'm just not going to walk past you because I'm not feeling comfortable. So that's why I personally stayed at the table, and I also stayed there because I was videotaping. And I had even said to him at one point, like before I actually hit my camera, "Are you sure you want to do this?" His thing was, "Are you sure you want to do this?" So I'm like, "Okay, I did ask you, so now I'm just going to go ahead and record." And so what I did was, as we were going out, I stood in the middle of the floor because I was asking him to give me his information. This man was still following us. Once he moved out of the way, when we asked him to move, and when Van said, "Don't stand over me," like move out of the way, he backed up a little, and then he walked away. I don't know where he went at. And that's when I felt comfortable getting up. So I got up, and then I went to the middle of the floor, and I'm still videotaping. He came back out, and he just stood there and he was looking, and I was just saying to him, "I need your information. And this, you hear it on my live. I need your information, your manager or whoever." And like Van said, he went and wrote something on a crumpled piece of paper and brought it back. And I was saying to him, "This doesn't even have a name on it, but okay, that's fine." We went out on the parking lot. I continued to do my live on the parking lot because I wanted people to understand that we were in a situation that could have gone the other way. It really could have. And I wanted it to be on film. And like I said, that's what I do anyway. So I'm outside doing my live. I'm talking. There were actually African American couples that were there, and I do have to give a shout out to them because while they were there, they actually voiced their concerns. And when we left, they left. They did not patronize Olive Garden at all. They all got up and walked out. And so I do want to give a shout out to them, and even um, to the people that were there who found me on social media and reached out to me personally, to say that they were there, they witnessed everything, they were surprised about what happened. But while I was doing the video, his son came, and I couldn't understand why he would call his son on three women. My understanding after talking to someone in corporate today is that he doesn't have a son. So maybe it was a family member, but somebody came and jumped out of their car and, saying, I need to go talk to my dad or find my dad or something. And we just stood there. We didn't move. I continued doing my live because my thing was, don't come over this side. You can go see whoever you want, but don't come over here. All of this going on, Gilbert, it was difficult. And I have to say, for me, it was difficult to go through it because growing up, I dealt with a lot of racist behavior because I grew up in white neighborhoods and I went to white schools. And pretty much my last 3 years of high school, I went to a Jewish school. And I was the only African American. The school was 5% Black. And so I dealt with a lot of racism. And so I had to, in my adult life, go through therapy to even be able to deal with what happened on Saturday. That's a trigger for me. It's a serious trigger. So, going through that, it was difficult because it brought back a lot of memories of just being bullied. And that's what it was when I was in school. I was bullied a lot because of the color of my skin. And I even said to this man several times that my question was, "What are we doing?" Because we're business professionals, Black business professional women. So what are we doing that's wrong? And he couldn't give us an answer. Even when the other thing is that you have couples who are there who are coming to eat at your business. They're coming to pay their Black dollars at your business, and you see all of these people walking out because we're leaving, but you're so focused on whatever your issue is with us that you don't even go out to these customers and say, hey, what's going on? Don't go anywhere. Why are you guys leaving? It was almost like he didn't care. So when I make the comment, which some people got offended about, when I make the comment about I felt as though it was racist, I have several reasons for saying that, and that's one of them. Because if you have about 8 people who are African American walking out and you don't really care that they're leaving, you just walking around with your hands up in the air like it's okay, I have an issue with that. My other issue was him being a grown man, I believe around our age, um, sending out a young African American male who looked to be about my son's age, and my son is 25 years old. So you're sending this young man out to talk to 3 very grown Black women to tell us how nice you are and how we shouldn't come down on you, and how, almost like we should forgive you and be beholding to you, because that's not normally how you act. A part of me wanted to tell the young man that, listen, you have a Black mother. So the very last thing you want to do is stand in front of our faces and say to us that we should forgive him for his behavior. His behavior is unacceptable, and don't ever allow anyone to put you in that position where you are standing in front of 3 Black women and you're defending this white man. I wanted to say that to him, but that was not the time nor the place. I needed to stay focused in on what was going on with us. So that really bothered me, that he thought it was okay to pull the busboy, and I knew that the boy really didn't have a really high position, because when he came out to talk to us, his clothes were dirty, his mask that he had on was dirty, probably because he's rubbing his hands all over it. So when I looked at him, I knew that he wasn't an assistant manager or GM or anything like that. He was actually the bus boy. And that's why I asked him who he was. And I told him, and you can hear it on the video, that, listen, I'm not going to go back and forth with you because you have nothing to do with this. And I did not like the fact that he used that young man like that to bring him out to speak to us. We're all, I don't know about Van, I'm in my 50s. Okay. So, talking to me like I'm a kid, talking to Miss Joyce like she's a kid, like, and Van, that's just unacceptable. And that's how we were talked to that day. I think Van's I think her thing went out. So the other thing is that we got the information for corporate, because of course that's what I do. I investigate stuff. So we get, and Joyce does, so we get the information for corporate, and I, along with getting the information for corporate, I made my videos, and I posted the video, and I tagged Olive Garden on all of my social media platforms. And as a result of me doing that, Olive Garden saw the video and saw what happened, and they called me. Actually, someone called me yesterday. I spoke with someone, And today I spoke with another person from, I forgot what department it was. And then the vice president called me and he spoke with me and we had a conversation. And so my whole thing is this. Um, when we as African Americans or whoever, I don't even want to say African Americans, but as people, when you go out to an establishment, customer service should be number one. And the last person that should be disrespecting you and saying all kinds of stuff against you should be the manager. My problem that I have with what's currently going on is that he's still allowed to come to work. It is under investigation. Um, and I want to put this out there because I don't ever want this to happen again. My thought was, how many people has this happened to that they just got up and walked out and said, forget it, and they didn't say anything. And now it's come to my attention because it's happening to me and the host on my show. And we're not going to just let this rest, which is what I shared with Olive Garden. We're not going to let it rest. We're not going to just say, thank you for your apology. No, this is unacceptable behavior. And he has to understand that if you're in that position where you're a manager, that you're the manager. So you set the tone for the entire the entire place that you work at. You set the tone. So the fact that you feel like you can walk around and you can bully us, and I will say this, I watched him bully his employees. The waitress that we had, she actually, as Van or Joyce said, she was new. And so she was already nervous because she was new, and she told us she was new. And we were like, oh, take your time. It's okay. He told her the first time, go get the trays for them. Now he didn't ask us, did we want to take the food with us? He just told her go get the trays. And so then other things were going on, and I guess she got sidetracked. When she finally came back, he's like, didn't I tell you go get the trays? And so they can get out of here. Just get their trays so they can get out of here. And like I said, Joyce said, well, Dr. J, do you want? No, I don't want their food. I don't want a tray. I don't want their food. I don't want anything, nothing from them. And, we let the young lady know that this had nothing to do with you. We're talking about him and we're dealing with him. So it has been, and I want the ladies to talk about this as well, because for me, it was something that I had to process. Because when you go through racist behavior, when you've been called names growing up and called out of your name as a child, just because of the color of your skin, you get over it, but I don't know that it ever really goes away. Like when it comes back at you, it's like a punch in the gut, and the fact that you're kind of blindsided because you weren't expecting for it to happen. So for me, I've had to really kind of process it, as well as say to my host, look, we're going to do this, just keeping them up, because I know that it's affected them as well. For me being a Black business owner, it was the embarrassment. The fact that you didn't even give me a chance to speak, to say who I am. You just chose to I'm not going to say try, you chose to disrespect me and what I was doing, and talk to me as if you really had authority to do that. That's the problem that I had. The other thing, I'm going to bring my son on as well, because my son is the manager for my company. And so my son was not in town, and I told him what happened. So I'm going to bring him on because he actually called the manager to talk to him. So I'm going to bring my son on. This is, oh, did I bring? There he is, Eric.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I wasn't there. Like she said, I was out of town. But when she called me, I didn't know how serious it was. I thought, that y'all had still ate and he had did that on the way out. I didn't know that, he kicked y'all out. So, first thing I want to say, I know how it feels because this happened to me at school. Plenty of times. It happened to me while I was in Maine. It happened to me while I was in West Virginia. And like you said, like a lot of people do just walk away from it. It's just because like like circumstances, like the boy that was working there, he probably just didn't have nothing else. Like that's probably his only job, so he didn't really want to stand up and stuff like that. For me, I was in school and like I didn't live there, so it's just like you brush it off. So that's why a lot of people like, you know, I feel like walk away and don't say nothing, but I feel like more people do need to say something. So I'm glad y'all are saying something. And like you said, like earlier, like you were saying, like how many people do you think this happened to? It probably happened to a lot of people, but like you said, like I said, like a lot of people just don't say nothing about it. They just, oh, he's being racist, and they just brush it off. And like while I was in Maine, while I was in Elkins, West Virginia, like I didn't seen all this stuff. Like I was going to one of my games, I seen the stairs, people whispering, people thinking that we loud, obnoxious, and things like that. So I thought it was just one of them. I didn't know how serious it was. But I had tried to call them that day, but they had said corporate was closed on the weekend. So I had called yesterday. And when I called yesterday, um, the girl had told me he was going to be in at 4 o'clock. So I waited and I called him back. And as soon as I got on the phone, I asked him, you know, I introduced myself and everything, you know, who I work for and this and that. And I had asked him, you know, did he kick y'all out? And he told me, I don't remember doing that. That didn't happen. So I said, come on now, like I know, like you can talk to me, like what happened? So I said, I heard they were playing a video and you said it was loud. They turned it down. What happened? So all he said was, yeah, they played a video. And I said, okay, did they turn it down? He said, yeah. And I said, okay, so what happened? And then he instantly, like, he didn't say nothing for like 10 seconds. So I said, hello. And he told me if I wanted to talk more about it or whatever, I had to call the media team. So I asked him, I said, why am I calling the media team if you were the lead manager that day? What are they going to have to tell me that you can't? You were there. You were the one that did the whole thing. So he kept just telling me, oh, if you don't want to call the media team, you can have a nice day, this and that. So I had just kept asking him. I was like, sir, what happened? What happened? He just refused to tell me. So I had called, I had hung up and I had called back and asked for his hours. And, you know, he was there. They said he works from 4 to closing. So I was just going, if this wasn't brought up, I was just going to keep calling to see, you know, like what can happen. But yeah.
So he really, his whole thing was, I think now he realizes that, oops, I made a mistake. You know, I messed with the wrong women. And that's on him. You know, that's his fault. And I think now he's just kind of backing away. He doesn't want to talk. But I'm going to go through some of these comments before we get back into the conversation. Thank you, Kristen Youngblood. Stephen Copeland says that he's listening. Tara Hayes, that's my cousin. She says, good for you. Yvette Williams says, if it was one of us if it was one of us, the police would have been called. Yeah, definitely. But hey, Michelle Madison. I see Michelle Madison is on. Jackie says, makes people like us look bad. Really makes human beings look bad. And Jackie's saying that because Jackie's white. But you know what, Jackie? Let me
It's
say
not
this.
all white people though.
It's not, and that's not that. Please,
Yeah.
don't even think that, because there's bad in every race, you know. And so I do want to put that out there. So don't you take offense. I know you. So no, definitely don't take offense. That please don't. Um, and then let's see who else is on here. Ray said, good for you. We all have to stand up for right. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can't just walk away from it. Mayani, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She says, I commend you all for standing up for your rights. Thank you. And we have Yvette, who says, no satisfaction until he's fired. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you.
I feel like firing him is not enough though. Like honestly, you and me be honest.
And it's not, but
I
that's
just feel like management wise, I feel like human resources should work on like curriculum on who they hire.
True.
Like
True.
as far as like like politics and racism and things like that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
for being a manager. But
Right.
firing him is not really doing nothing at the end of the day.
Right. Right. Lorraine Baptiste says you don't have to be too smart to be a manager at Olive Garden. Okay, Lorraine. Jennifer says, I'm listening. I received a call from corporate. Oh, you know what, Jennifer? Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer was actually there when everything happened. Jennifer, thank you so much for reaching out to me and finding me on social media and actually speaking up for us and telling them your side of what you saw. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Um, Stay in touch. Steve Copeland says, I'm just saying the female he brushed up against, you should have called the police just to have a report of him touching you. It's about building a case against his actions towards our Black queens. So, Joyce, I want you to hold on to this question because I want you to respond to that. I'm just going to go down to the rest of the questions. James says racism is a form of trauma. Yes, no different than any other forms of assault. James, you hit it. Thank you so much. Jackie says put put it this way, one day it could happen to him, and what if the ladies turned on him, then he would know how it feels. And Steve says, yeah, I got to go get my glasses, y'all really working my eyes tonight. Oh no, Ray, we don't want you to go protest. Ray said, would you like for me to go protest? I'm good at it. No, Ray, no. Steve says, I'm going to talk with him myself. I will present myself as a community organizer. We fight for the democracy of Black people. I call our organization the baby branch of the NAACP. Thank you so much. Um, and then we have Kristen who says that she says, I hate, oops, Kristen's thing went away. There we go. Kristen says, I hate that you guys went through that. I'm praying for better days. Love always. Thank you, Kristen. And Pastor Shannon Wright says customer service training is a real thing and much needed. Absolutely. And we got Jennifer. She says, I will. Thank you. I would like to say they offer. She said, I would like to say they offered me a gift, I guess a gift card, because we did not have the opportunity to eat. So Jennifer is the one that actually corporate spoke to. And then Pastor Shannon said, she says, good training promotes, um, good training prohibits, racism and bigotry of all types. Yes. And Jennifer said, yes, the gift card. I think the gift card is the standard thing, but they have to understand that it's not that we can't pay for our food. We can pay for our food, we can do that so we don't, skip the gift card. But guys, I'm gonna go get my glasses and I'm gonna turn it over to Joyce because I want Joyce to answer the question about that comment about the police calling the police.
Okay, so to answer that question, I would say my initial thought was just let me leave. So I thought that he was going to call the police on me if I did not leave. Now, me, I think that had the police been called, they would have definitely come into the Olive Garden and believed his story. I'm African American. He's Caucasian. They were going to believe his story. And he was going to say that I was causing problems or whatever. And sometimes I have a problem with my temper. So I decided that I did not want to deal with the police. And oftentimes they come in and, they're doing their little rogue thing. And I did not want it to escalate to that point. So that's why I just bowed out gracefully. But what I do want to say is this man is massive. He is a huge man. And like he was trying very, very hard to intimidate me. I don't think he had to work hard because he's such a big man and I was intimidated. I literally felt like he was going to hit me. So I'm like, okay, so let me get out of here. And what Miss Van neglected to say was that he said if I leave, that they could stay. So I said, okay, ladies, let me just go in the car. I'll take care of this. Like I don't want to make a scene or anything. And then that's when I guess he just went on. There was like an issue from the start. There was an issue, his entire attitude, like he just like, he looked at me. That's not the way it's supposed to be handled. Okay, sir, what is the issue? If I was, or if we were disturbing anybody, I would have gladly apologized to those patrons, but there's no way anybody, unless you're making a concentrated effort to hear what was on that cell phone, there's no way anybody could hear. And yeah, it was very intimidating, very humiliating, very embarrassing. I did go to the front and I got his business card, and it just like the atmosphere there was like everybody was afraid of him. So I'm like, no, we don't need it to escalate because there were family members who were, are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? So yeah, that's the reason why I did not call the police because they probably would have believed him.
Yeah, you want to speak before I say anything?
Gilbert's quiet. Go ahead, Miss Van.
Go ahead, Van. Say what you gotta say.
For me, I felt like this experience, I see it happen all the time. And because of the organization that me and Miss Joyce stand for, the People Power Assembly, we are worldwide. And we deal with issues like this every day. We are stand-up people. We believe in what we do. We are determined what we do
To make a
to make a whole difference for the world, period. So for this incident to happen, I literally felt like a punch in the stomach, and the pain would not go away. I felt like my dad did not talk to me like that. Our dad better not act like I had no sense, no manners. My husband does not treat me as such. But for the tone, and I was managers at many places. If you're not good to your employees, if you're not great, if you're not great with your employees, you're not going to know how to treat customers. That was very, very, very unprofessionally what he did to us. I could not sleep Sunday, and I just kept saying, please help me with this one. What did happen? What went wrong? What did we do? The whole thing was from the time we got in the door, I felt tension. I felt like, why are we waiting? But again, we kept conversating as time went on. We looking at our watch, like we were sitting here almost to 25 minutes. Y'all forgive me because I have never ever felt.
Miss Van, you can get together. Stop it.
I've never, ever want to feel less than a woman. That's how he made me feel, almost to say, like we were the bubble gum on the bottom of his shoe. And if nobody ever experienced being talked down, talked to like that, we out in the public all the time. We go in the most unsafe neighborhoods. We make a difference by the time that we meet these people and talk to them, and we change their whole train of thoughts. They almost to say some of them, they even join our team. Their name is yours. All of them, mainly the young generation, have joined our team, and we work with quite a few mixture of people. It's not like we're just working with African American organization. That's not happening. It's a mixture of people, and we are treated equally from these people. We're not fussing. We're not calling names. We're not being disrespected. We are loved by and it's over 500 people that we communicate with. And
Yeah.
then it's Baltimore City that has the organization of People Power Assembly. It's one in Philly. I think there's one in Jersey. So we are a worldwide organization.
Let's get back to let's get back to the what I wanted to say. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we only have probably about 1 minute. But what I wanted to say was the issue is, and it remains the highest issue with me. Um, this gentleman was very, very upset because I dared to question him and call him out on his racism. That is it. That's the bottom line. That's what happened. I called him out, and he was livid that I dare call him out on his racist attitude. And that's just it for me. And I absolutely feel like why are you still working? Is that the perception that the Olive Garden wants to put out? If it is, then I'll just have to accept that. But I will never. That was my first and last time being in Olive Garden, and I know we're out of town, out of time. That is my final comment.
Okay, and I just wanted, I had to go get my glasses because I can't see, so I'm gonna stop faking it. I couldn't see, so I wanted to get my glasses. But I wanted to read the rest of the comments. Tonight, Tanya said he needs to be fired, and we have Kristen who says, I hope he is removed from his position. People like that should not deal with the public. And Kennedy says, me too. Mayani, I hope I'm saying her name right. Forgive me if I'm not. I thank God for keeping you all covered. And Jackie says, I'm behind you, sisters. Do your thing. I can't blame you. Just keep going on. She says, I am not going to that restaurant whatsoever. And as Tanya says, customer service is a must. We have Steve Copeland who's asking another question. He says, so I just need to know and understand, what do you ladies want from the disrespect of the manager? An apology or the removal of the person? Jennifer says, don't let the manager's behavior define what you stand for. He does not and will not win. Absolutely, Jennifer. That's what I say. And Yvette's comment is, I think she's talking to Van. She says, allow your feelings, sis. Don't suppress your emotions. People need to know how racism affects us as a people. And Jackie says, get that place closed down or get the manager fired. Mayani says yes. And yeah, I was in the background, and I know that it's hard. Listen, being there Saturday and watching these two ladies, their incredible strength, and I know that it was a hard thing to deal with, because as I said, it was truly difficult for me, because I don't do racist behavior very well. I really don't. I thank God for just being with all of us and helping us to be able to walk through that, because it was very embarrassing. And you're talking about, we're telling you the story within a few minutes, but we have been there for a couple hours. So this was happening over a span of time. It didn't just happen in the short little segments that we're giving to you. It really happened over a span of time. And so when you're going through that, it brings back all kinds of memories, all kinds of emotions. And not just the racist piece, but as a woman, and I've shared this publicly before, being molested as a child, for a number of years. I don't like when you stand over me. Standing over me, being close to me, me feeling like I cannot move because you're in the way and you're taller than me and you're bigger than me. Those are all serious triggers. So I had to really go into my toolbox of therapy that I had learned to really suppress all of the emotions that I was having, because that's how it was affecting me, along with feeling like my black skin. You feel like you have privilege because I'm a black female and you can say what you want to say. And so I was dealing with that, with those two things. And just either one of them alone is enough. But to deal with both of those things and feel like, um, bringing back those old wounds, opening up those old wounds, something that you have to work on every day. But having somebody not respect your words, not respect your space, and thinking that it's okay to do that, it was a lot for me to process. And and it's just so much, because like I said, on the weekends I'm with my dad and I'm helping to take care of my mom. So I have not really had a lot of time to process what happened, because I just got back from my mom's house, my parents' house this morning, and I had to go straight into an interview, straight into doing something else, straight into getting ready for a show. I haven't really processed all that happened on Saturday. But tomorrow will be my day, hopefully, when I can kind of process everything. And then on top of that, I'm talking to all the corporate, the manager, the president of Olive Garden. It's been a lot. And so that's what people need to understand, because I was reading some of the comments of people, why didn't you do this? And why do you think it was racist? And why? Here's the thing. You can think whatever you want to think, and how you handled it, or how you think in your mind how you would have handled it. It's okay. I don't argue with anybody. I just know that we were there. We were in the room.
Right.
And so it's easy to say what you would do in certain situations when you're sitting on the sideline. It's very easy to say what you would do, but when you're actually in the situation, and now that I broke it down for you, and I hope that you understand that it wasn't just that we were in the room and he was just standing over us. No, we all had to process our personal pain while dealing with this particular situation. For me, it was the fact that he's a man. Again, the person who molested me was much older than me, a man who was towering over me. And so I don't like men over me like that. Don't tower over me. Don't try to intimidate me. That's a trigger, and it brings out all kinds of emotions. And so him doing that, that was a trigger for me. And that's why when we're calling for him being fired, or when we're doing the videos, or when we're having these conversations and people are like, well, why are you still talking about it? At least you got out. And listen, as I said, it's your opinion, but make sure you hear and make sure you understand why people react the way that they do. So it's not just about a black and white, or we're trying to get views, or we're trying to do this and that. No, this was a real issue for all three of us as black women. And so I really need you all to understand that. It was a couple of comments on the page that I promised people that I just wanted to go back. Gilbert, I'm gonna let you jump in here while I'm pulling up these comments. Oh, he has to unmute his mic. And oh,
Hello. Yeah. So I just want to say I'm sorry you ladies had to go through that, and I so many questions I had throughout the as I'm listening to you guys, but I guess that's for another time. And I'm like the gentleman, like what actually do you guys want to happen? Like where do you want to go from here? We hear how you feel, we understand how you feel. So what's next, and how can we support what's next?
okay, I will answer that. There's some things that part of your question, I get it, but that part of your question we can't answer right now because of some things that we are working on. But one thing that I will say is that we want to make sure that it does not happen again to anybody else, whether you're male, female, black, or white. We just want to make sure that that type of behavior does not happen again. Some of the things that took place were against the law, and so we want to make sure that it's handled in the proper way. And of course, we're not going to put all our cards on the table, and we can't put everything out on social media, but we can answer certain questions, and some things we have to, let handle it another way. And so that's what we're going to be doing.
I also think that the consequences should be for that gentleman specifically. I think if you go after the whole establishment, it creates a ripple effect, like the young lady who you had empathy for because of the way he was treating her. Because if the business closes, then she no longer has a job. Eric made a good point about the busboy who may have been just trying to save his job and doing what his manager asks. If the establishment closes, he loses his job. So it'll be so many other people who had nothing to do with that man's actions, but were caught up in the mix, who that decision might affect. So it's his actions. He need to be held accountable for his actions.
Absolutely, absolutely, because you're right. It is going to affect a lot of people. It definitely is. Um, Before I wanted to go to, I got like over 200 questions and comments after the video went out, but it was a few that stood out. And Linda's, where are my glasses at? Because Linda, I want to really read your comment. Okay, let me put my glasses on. Linda Stein Flint said, "So what was said or done that was racist? I have been there before, and they aren't that way." Um, Linda, I want to address you real quick. I don't know you. I don't know what happens when you go there. We told our story today. This is what happened to us. As I said in a video earlier today, if you had an opportunity to walk in our black skin, then you would understand exactly what we were talking about. So when you ask me what was said or done that was racist, I think I put it all out in the video. So if you couldn't pick it out, Linda, um, I'm going to have to question where you are. Okay, I just wanted to say that to you. Um, I'm not even going to go any further with you because you look like you old enough to understand racism and everything else. So I'm going to leave it right there. Colette, I want to pull yours up. You said there are two sides to every story. I would like to hear both sides before I make my thoughts. Colette, what I want to say to you is not a problem. Call him up. Maybe he'll give you his side of the story. That's all you have to do. Call him up. Maybe he'll let you know exactly what he did. But what I will say, Colette, is that videos don't lie. Okay? Just want to say that to you. Um, it was quite a few people on here who had some negative things to say. And I'm not going to give you any airtime. I'm going to do you just like I did him. I'm not going to give you any airtime because this is my station. So I'm not going to give you any airtime. But what I will say to you is that in your criticism of us as Black professional women standing our ground, again, I have to question where you are because most of the people, well, no, actually, all of the people who were critical of us were white women. And again, I'm not putting all white people in the same category, but my white sisters who inboxed me and sent the negative comments, and you want to know why we don't just go away and be quiet because nothing really happened. I hope that you watched the entire video and you understand that something did happen and a lot happened. And again, watching, you may not understand because you don't walk in our skin, so you don't know what a day in the life of a Black woman is about. Period. Okay, I'm done talking to y'all. Now we're gonna go to Tanya. who says she said that we made her proud. She just wanted us to know. Thank you, Tanya. And Steve Copeland says, yes, I videotaped the Queen crying, and I'm trying everything to stay calm. I will present this video to the manager, and I have no problem talking with corporate myself to remove him from the Olive Garden and give an apology for his behavior. Steve Copeland, thank you so much, and thank you for the work you do in the community. Um, Yvette says, how insensitive of Linda. Yes, yes, Yvette, yes, it is. But you have to understand, as I said, some people don't know what a day in the life of a black woman or a black man is. So you have to forgive ignorance and move on. Um, Steve said he could have been going through something, but his behavior was very unprofessional that day. And that was my thought too. Maybe he's going through something. But if he was, that's not my problem. You're old enough to know better. Check it at the door. Like I used to tell my employees, check it at the door. And if you can't check it at the door, go ahead and punch out and go home. And I've sent a lot of people home for their unprofessional behavior. And I was a manager for 25 years in the health field. So check it at the door. And if you can't, go home. If the position is too much for you, give it up. Okay. Miss Zalika Bazemore says, I would love to see the video because I know it is what you said. It was like the experience. I know she's saying basically, I know it was like you said it was at the Olive Garden. Please share the video. I missed it. I think, Zalika, if you go on my Facebook page, it's on there. And my cousin Tyra, she's like the voice of reason. She says, ignore them. Don't dignify them with airtime. Thank you. You see, I didn't. If you feel this is important to you, then who gives a rat's behind about their opinions? And we don't. Okay? Yvette Williams. These people. Yvette Williams, she says, our experience can never be understood by them. Again, white privilege does still exist. Um, and Steve says yes. So, everybody, I hope that you will share this video. We thank you. We definitely thank you for all of your support. Thank you for all of the people that shared the video. And this is we don't want to put it out there that every Olive Garden is bad and all of that, because like Gilbert said, there's a lot of nice people who work in there, in the establishment. And I've been to Olive Garden several times, and anybody who knows me knows that I love Olive Garden because I'm a salad eater. My son calls me a bird eater. I love salads. So I like their salads and I like their breadsticks. So it's not that I have anything against Olive Garden, but I do have issues with disrespect and people who feel like they can say and do what they want to do when I'm spending my black dollars. Pastor Shannon Wright says, real talk, any behavior that intimidates and throws out paying customers is unacceptable. She says, color, race, or religion, nor cultural ignorance is an excuse. You can't work for me if you can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen. The fact he is not suspended speaks volumes. Amen. And this is what I said today when I spoke with corporate. You cannot offer me anything because if I pull up to the door today, he's still working there. So you're sending me a message. I got it. So we will remain silent on the rest of what we're doing. But guess what? We will remain vigilant. We're still going to remain vigilant. We're still going to be professional. And we're still going to handle this in the proper way. We give you no ammunition to take and say that we did anything, because we didn't. So my son wanted to say something before we leave, and I'm going to, Eric, did you mute your mic or? Yeah, he muted. Okay, there you go.
I worked in HR for like 2 years, so everybody has to keep in mind that what he would have to do in order for him to get suspended in a day would have to be really serious. When you're in a business like that, when you do something like that, it goes through different branches of like management in a company. So like now that everybody is saying something, it'll probably take like maybe even a month for him to really either get terminated, suspended. They'll probably send him to diversity training, so he can understand like, harassment and discrimination and things like that. So like you have to understand that along with what you really want out of this at the end of the day, because like, yeah, he gets terminated, but it's not really teaching him nothing. Like, I'd rather somebody be taught something so they can't do it again, so somebody else can't see him do it, you know, as far as that. And then the second thing, like, that we have to, like, let other people understand, because, like I said, I went to Maine, so a lot of people are just, like, clueless on racism and just certain things that they do that will come off racist, or the mindset that they have. So, like, you can't really get mad at a white person for saying what they say, because they just they don't understand. Like, they never been in that situation. Like, a white man can never tell me like, why are you scared when you come here? Like, if I walk in with a whole bunch of white men, of course I'm going to be scared. And I played basketball for D2, D3, D1, all of that. And I know how it feels to walk in, everybody be white, everybody's successful. So nobody's really ever going to understand that. They probably will never understand it, but that's just something you have to tell them. Like, they'll never understand how we feel at the end of the day. So it's not ignorance. It's just, that's something that doesn't happen, like, for them. So that's the other thing that, like, out of this that people have to understand, instead of boycotting and pushing things away, like, teach other people, how we feel, things that happen to us. And along with, like I said, instead of getting him terminated, or even if he do get terminated, put him through diversity training, put him through, you know, things that will come off as harassment and discrimination. Like, even if he works somewhere else, because I'm sure even if he gets terminated, he won't work somewhere else. So at the end of the day, like, you still have to put him through some type of diversity training as a manager. His job title right now, wherever he go next, is going to be a manager, or it's going to be something of that nature. He's not going to downgrade. So that's the only thing I have to say. You just have to put him through that responsibility of having diversity training, like, to where he understands what he's doing moving forward from now, even if he gets terminated.
Okay, and I want to ask the ladies and Gilbert what they feel about that comments. We'll start with Joyce.
Agree with Eric in that um they they may fire him, but they're just going to put him at another Olive Garden. That's all they're going to do. And I do think that diversity training, sensitivity training, I think that would absolutely help, and they should mandate him to some sort of training like that.
Okay, and Van, what do you think? Let me see. Do I have Van muted? Oh, there she is.
So,
Okay.
so a lot of times when people, well, I'm gonna say this. Apparently, when he came to Olive Garden, he wasn't trained right. They're gonna have their days. I had my days, and I worked in an environment that was tough. But again, I couldn't be disrespectful um, to the people that I worked around, is because the environment that I was in. But when my supervisors and bosses over top of me know that we get frustrated, because it's not easy dealing. Sometimes you get people that's a pain in the, you know what, but sometimes you have to know when to present yourself, when to fold, when to hold, and not say anything. Because again, we can't just go around thinking that doing something, not excusing for his behavior. But if if he does get fired and go somewhere else, it might not be successful as we're going to figure out what it is. Because again, that follows him to go to another job. This is not the first time that this happened, and it won't be his last that it happened. He may be. I would never want to see nobody unemployed, but his behavior is unacceptable. Bad days we're going to have, but that wasn't a bad day to me from what I got from him. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
needs to be retrained at some point, especially if you have a a title as such as himself. He's a manager. What if he was a GM? What if he was higher than just a manager? But he's not setting any example for the employees that's under him that he's over top of, and he's giving them the okay to do whatever there is for they want to do because they're learning from him. So if in fact that those employees act like he did, what's going to happen? He's going to fire them. So why isn't it that he's not going to retrain them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
think anybody that holds a title such as himself, police officers, anybody that holds a title such as you have to deal with people and you're higher than them. It's a way to conduct yourself. It's a way to present yourself. It's you're setting examples. All of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're going to close out. And Gilbert, I did say I was going to ask you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more thing, and I'm going to turn it over to you to close out. And let me just see if there's any more comments. Steven said, "Love you, my queens. Love you too, bro." Jackie says, "You're right, and I was watching you live from the Olive Garden, and I didn't like what happened to you guys. I also shared your video with everyone. Thank you, Jackie." Um, I want to say this because I do know that Olive Garden is watching. The people from Olive Garden are watching, the people in corporate and so forth. So I want to leave you guys on a good note. Oh, wait a minute. Let me read this comment real quick. Yvette said, "Diversity training will not stop systematic racism. He can get the training and still have racist perspective outside of his employment. It's a must. We must stand firm and not bend. We definitely, not our ancestors, we have a right to stand and fight back. People only can give what they have in their heart. Training will not stop racism and intimidation. I'm furious." And that's absolutely correct. I think that we're living in a climate also where so much has happened that we're dealing with racism like it's 1963. It's just a lot going on right now. And so she's absolutely correct that you can train people all you want, but how you feel is how you feel. And sometimes, as I tell people, if you don't deal with those things that you try to suppress, they will come out. And so, like somebody said earlier, he could have been having a bad day, and we just happened to walk in and we got the brunt of it because of who and what we look like. But I wanted to say this before we go, to Olive Garden, because I know you guys are watching. And so I just want to share this with you all so you all will understand. And as you're doing the diversity training with your employees, which I hope that you do, maybe you guys need to revamp it, but I want you to also understand who we are as Black professional women. So I'm going to ask these two ladies, and I will myself tell you exactly what we do, who we are, how we do it, and so you all can have this in your record as you move forward. So again, you will understand that we were not just random women walking into Olive Garden, just sitting there eating your food, because we really should have gone somewhere else. But like y'all know why we went there. But anyway, I just want to say for myself that my name, everybody calls me Lady J, but my name is Dr. Charlene Jenkins. Okay, so I want you to put that down in your notes. And I studied mental illness in the church and in the community. Okay, and I own LadyJ Media, which is what you all are watching right now, Olive Garden. We are here. We do shows every day. We have a magazine that's called What Up Baltimore. We're doing a lot of great things at the station. And the one thing that we stand up for is what's right. We stand for what's right. And the reason you did not see us act like um, your manager is because we don't carry ourselves that way and we don't conduct ourselves in that manner. So we were still able to remain professional, keep our attitudes in check, keep ourselves intact, our emotions, and we were still able to walk out of Olive Garden like the queens that we are, and also have some of your patrons follow us as we went out the door. And so I just want to say to you that as you do your diversity training, that you let your employees know that you never just judge a book by its cover. Just because we were three African American women coming in there, it did not mean that we were three dummies. And so this is why I wanted to share with you who we are. Our audience knows who we are, but I just want you, Olive Garden, to know who we are. And it was actually a privilege for us to be in Olive Garden, because we really could have taken our dollars and went somewhere else. So we really graced your restaurant on Saturday by being there. And so I'm going to turn the mic over to my sister, Miss Joyce Butler, another educated and intelligent Black woman who is a host here on LadyJ Media, as well as Van is a host on LadyJ Media as well. So I'm going to turn the mic over to her.
Butler. I am a full-time manager in the healthcare realm during the day. I absolutely am a host on radio host on LadyJ Media. I am a literacy instructor. Let's see. I am a proud member of the People's Power Assembly, Unemployed Workers Union, and that's me. That's me. I'm out there.
Oh no, Joyce, we're not going to let you just stop with that. Joyce is
Oh my
actually
God. Okay.
about to graduate with her master's
I
degree. When is
certainly am.
graduation?
Absolutely.
When is
September. I'll be
Okay.
finished my entire course load, and I will have an MBA. And my concentration is public health administration. Graduation is December 4th.
All
Yes.
right. So she graduates December 4th. I graduated June 5th. So we're going to carry on. Also, she's a notary as well. If anybody needs something notarized, she's
I
a
am.
notary and a public speaker. So we're going to pass the mic over to Miss Van. Um, and I will say this about Miss Van. Where is Miss Van at? Oh, there she is.
Right here.
If you all need to know anything about law enforcement, this lady right here can tell you all about it. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Miss Van.
My name is Van Green. I finished school. Didn't attend college because I was a single mom raising three children, but I retired from law enforcement. So you just never know who you run into. You know, maybe we looked original. You know, we didn't look as if we were who we are now. Now you know, but you never know who you come off at until you find out the end. And that's why we presented ourselves the way that we did. But I think everybody who saluted us, who had the gave us good comments, they stood by our side. But I just want to just to say one thing. I'm real big on respect.
Me too. I think we all are, and so we again, like I have to echo what she said. I truly appreciate everybody who's been supporting us throughout this process. You will continue. We'll keep you updated on what's going to take place going forward. As I said, there's some things that we cannot discuss, but believe you me, we're going to be vigilant and we're going to continue to stand for what we believe in, and we're going to stand for what's right. And that's it. And so I'm going to turn it over to Gilbert. And I thank you all for joining BMore Brooklyn. And make sure that you tune in for the rest of the week, because at Olive Garden, you all are invited to tune in as well for the rest of the week, because we have a lot of great shows coming up here at LadyJ Media. So you definitely are invited to join us for the shows the rest of the week. And you all can also visit the LadyJ Media. Go to ladyjmedia.com. You'll be able to go to the website and see all of the different things that we're doing. And if you like listening to music and you like listening to shows as you travel, you can download the LadyJ Media app. Go to play.google.com and you'll see Lady J Media. That's my app. We have so much going on. But Olive Garden, thank you for watching. We just wanted you to know who and what we are. Let me just read Steve's conversation before I turn it over to Gilbert. He says the couch conversation show, and strengthen the community. We have our queens back. And he says, thanks, BMore Brooklyn. Lorraine, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it over to Gilbert Bell.
Can you hear me? So once again, I'm sorry you ladies had to go through that. I salute you for standing your ground, for standing up for yourself, for handling it in an appropriate fashion to where they can't turn it into angry black women thing and this whole stereotype thing. Um, I know we're going, but I also looked at some different perspectives. I do think that cultural diversity training does work for some people. You take you wherever you go, and that may make people more resentful toward you making them have to learn something. It may make them resentful, and they'll just be closed to it. One thing that did stick out to me was you three black women, the hostess. He was really rude to. So with that said, it may not have been a black thing. It could have been a woman thing. It could have been, he don't know how to respect or treat women, or that's how he treats women regularly. Um, so it's so many angles to this, but I'm just proud of the way you guys handled your business and how you continue to handle your business. And I just say keep up the good work because they actually do. They never know who they run into when they run into you. Even with myself, you may look at me and be like, he probably out there. And I always hit him in the head with the title. So, um, I salute y'all for that and just keep up the good work. You guys are deep in the community. You do so much for your community. And I know the people support you because of what you do. And with that, listen, we out.
I did wrong one thing. I am with the People Power Assembly, and so is Miss Joyce.